Then, you know,
Hasn't finished converting the other one. Let's all feel somehow.
Thank you and welcome to the Teaching by Design panel. This panel is chaired by Dr. Kola Autaibo and Dr. Yates of University of Lagos and Dr. Yetunde Alabede of the Michigan State University. To be joining us back to the meeting.
She joined us at attendee. She joined us as an attendee.
Dr. Yetunde, are you there now? Allow her to talk, please.
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for all you do.
How about this?
Just
with when
our days are full. We are delighted to have every member of this panel. And the major goal of this panel is to support the Jesus faith. Is to support evidence-based teachings that support learning outcomes that are useful in our community. So for every paper here, our goal is to ensure that as teachers, lecturers, trainers, wherever we are facilitating one or two things, we are adopting global best practices that fits to the needs of our community. So whatever works in your community, share with us here, and then we are able to move it forward. Last year, we were able to bring everyone to the challenge because our paper has been published. Now, settle up for her. So, yes, I was telling them that the paper you presented last year has been published. Mine is out, but yet come back. And I'm hoping that we'll have more of such from this panel. So in this room, I think we're starting very we have to bring for well, before then, we have Dr. Nkwendola. We
started
this also let me read out the presentation.
Sorry, man. It's this person there. Okoyemi. Yes.
Olajumoke.
Yes.
Okoyemi Olajumoke. Yes.
He is on Zoom.
Yes, sir. Zoom, yes.
On Zoom, yes.
Okay, I'm on Zoom.
Thanks for showing up.
Yes, Zoom.
All right, thank you. So the first presenter is going to talk about present on the difference of two types of business education tools, graduate students, and using of internet resources for research in Southwest Nigeria. That's also the issue for the last. The second speaker will be extant and we'll talk about extant and emergent approaches in ESL teaching, trans-language instruction in Nigerian.
So it's zooming on them very well. So
Happy
I will not be sure.
to have you. The talk presenter will be talking about multimedia, micro-teaching laboratories in quality validation, availability perception, and interest among service specialists. That is the stand out among that. While the last but not the least will be theater rehearsal, morality, and academic development students, and experimental study by Umoma Okori. I'll be reading out their citation one after the other. Just give me one out there. So Dr. Continuities Mohammed, the first adjunct lecturer at the University of Lagos, and essentially because of the use of internet resources by postgraduate business education students in Southwestern Nigeria. She loves connecting with people. Business work come out with a wash. It's online, am I right?
Yes.
She teaches English language education and literature in the Department of Art and Social Sciences Education, Osun State University of Osogbo, Nigeria. Her research focus spans through the following areas: English language and literature pedagogy, language policy and planning in multilingual society, approaches and methodologies in language teaching, trans-language instruction, use of technology, is a PSL classroom, and dramatic literature and language learning. You're welcome, Dr. Olo.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Idowu Christiana Ononuga is the History of Mathematics and Science Department in the Lagos State Public Secondary School under District 2. She's an expert in educational technology and her research focuses on multimedia micro-teaching laboratories, perception and interest among research. She's proud to be here. Dr. Umoma Okori is a lecturer in the Department of Theatre, Performing Arts, and Area President Kano. Her research focuses on African works and use the in-text and film. At leisure, she enjoys writing and playing volleyball. She has the welcome to Okori. I will be handing over to my co-chair, Ms. Yesterday Alabedi, to continue from where I stopped. I've read out the balance. So yeah, take over from here. Can you hear me?
Sure, I can hear you. Please, can you hear me?
Clearly. Clearly.
You can hear me clearly. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Amal Taiwo, and thank you so much to our attendees. We really appreciate you a lot. And so I also want to thank our panelists for getting us started because this is our first session.
So we're going to take sticky notes round. If something surprises you, challenges you, or there's something and input you want to feedback on the paper, I think you can scribble it on your sticky notes. If you need more, here for us. And then she will guide us on how to do every other thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Dr. Amal Taiwo. So we are going to start with the first presentation. And I know I am on Zoom, but I would like to say that if we have like 3 minutes to go, I may just try to give a signal. And if it's 1 minute to go, I would give a signal too. So that way we are on time. So our first presenter will be Dr. Mope Lola. Right? Yes, Dr. Mope Lola Oladuni Mohammed. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, their slide is here.
Okay. Just Google now.
Yeah, you can tap on it.
Make it this another one.
Please, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Please, I wanted to also just quickly announce that apart from the 3 panelists that we are seeing, we also have some attendees online and would really want to appreciate them for joining us as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Can go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening to you all. As Dr. Kola rightly addressed me, verification Ola. I mentioned from the Department of Technology and Vocational Education, Business Education Board, University of Lagos. The paper I'm here to present to you is titled The Influence of School Type on Business Education Postgraduate Students' Perception and Usage of Internet Resources for Research in Southwestern Education. That's it, Southwestern South. Introduction.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we said internet. Internet has come to stay, which we all know. And internet has been a lot of things. Inside internet, we have AI and also, which are tools for internet resources. And with internet resources, we can be able to source for information. Whenever we want to write a good research paper, we can be able to search for information from any angle. So now I'm saying that the internet resources have become a cornerstone of a modern academic research, offering unparalleled access to diverse resources that enhance quality and scholarly investigation with business education postgraduate students having access to internet, such as academic journal, industry reports, libraries. In University of Lagos here, we have the library there too. You can be able to source for information anytime. These resources are critical for fostering comprehensive understanding of business education and practice. Business education is an aspect of vocational education. And business education is comprises of management, marketing, economics, accounting. There are lots of fields under business education. Here in the University of Lagos and some other universities, we are practicing the same. Formerly, business education was categorized under the Department of Art and Social Science in all institutions. But when things come, other institutions started changing it. They removed business education from the art and social science and put it in technology and vocational, which University of Lagos also do that. According to my findings, I realized that there are 4 universities offering business education at a postgraduate level. There are lots of universities offering business education at undergraduate level. But in postgraduate level, there are 4 universities in southwestern Nigeria, which University of Lagos here happens to be the only federal university, while other universities are 2 from Ogun State. That is Olabisi Onabanjo University, Osu Agawe, then National University, Ijebu-Ode, then Ekiti State University. And according to my findings, can I continue like this? Okay. According to my findings, it's a complete work. I realized that there are few students that are offering business education at that level, so I don't really need sampling techniques. The sample is too minimal. And before I did my study in Southwest, I first went to University of Benin to try test the instruments I want to use for this study. Because the University of Benin is sharing the same characteristic with Southwest here.
They have the same characteristic with us. It is also part of, but they remove it to other parts. So I tested it on 30 students. There are 38 FBSc students and 22 master students there. And I realized I got the valid instrument I got back is 28 that are well fit. So the next study now, when I studied this, I realized that we have 231 business education students in the whole Southwest on postgraduate level, not undergraduate level. So I use descriptive studies for this. One example, which is 231, and the valid instrument is 160. Yeah, let me continue. Under this, I have 6 research purpose, and I have 6 research questions, and 6 hypotheses were also formulated from it. Can you move? So, okay, second of the problem, I can see very well. Thank you. Please let me go. I said this of the government here. This is the essential role of internet resources in postgraduate research. Disparities in asset, perception, and usage, especially between federal and state universities. Blinder was equal utilization among business education students. This study addresses the lack of empirical evidence. When I was doing this study, I find out that the study is new in my field. In my field, the only study, when most people study the evaluation of curriculum in this entrepreneurship, so the study is somehow new in my field. So the empirical evidence is not that so there. Empirical evidence on how institutions differences that schools like shape students' attitude, perception, and use of internet resources for academic use. We know that school type affects a lot of things. You cannot compare University of Lagos with the other state university. Then the opportunity University of Lagos students, University of Lagos in all, aside from business education students, objective is different from the state university because University of Lagos is a federal university, where they have a lot of grants, a lot of what do I call it? A lot of benefit funds from federal government. Then also, the University of Lagos is situated in an environment where a lot of people want to invest. There's a lot of NGOs, a lot of private bodies, they want to invest. University of Lagos is providing premium subscription in the University of Lagos. Yeah, the students have access to free internet resources than other universities which are under state. States are not permitted because they don't have that work. So I said the theoretical framework, which was perceived usefulness, PU, perceived ease of use, perceived credibility, behavioral intention, attitude towards all these are under TAM. TAM is provided by David in 1989. Next one, that's the next one. Next one. Next one. Besides special. This is where I talk about the method of collecting data. You know, I collected the data and I analyzed data through descriptive statistics, which is what mean and standard deviation used for the geographical and also then influential statistics. I use it to tell the hypothesis. There. Move to the next one. Then no, to the findings. Summary of the findings. I realized that federal university have edge in more sound constructs than state university. Then attitude similar and goal attitude are similar because some students live Lagos here and go to school in Ekiti. Some people come from Ekiti and come here, and we are all Yorubas. So, and Yorubas, you know, we cherish culture, we cherish respect, we cherish that if you go to, if your parents send you to school, you must concentrate on what so the student attitudes are similar. Then you said about the key barriers, which is infrastructure, funding. Other the state universities are lacking this. Then, next one. Then conclusion. I said internet is also advisor for unequal access. Federal institutions offer better support. Importance of digital equity for academic success. These are the recommendations. I recommend that there should be interconnection between the state and federal university. If they connect with the University of Lagos, there is a code the University of Lagos can give to other states, and they'll be able to enjoy what the University of Lagos students are also enjoying in terms of internet. Yes. Then, thank you for.
Thank you so much, Dr. For that wonderful presentation. And I think what stood out to me is thinking about technologies and what. Can they hear me? Can you hear me? So like thinking about technology and what it means in different institutions in Nigeria. I think when we are doing general Q&A, we'll be able to like touch base on some key points on your presentation. Thank you so much. I will move to the next presenter to lead us in person of Mrs. Mupilola Opeyemi, right? Please, can you hear us? And she is joining on Zoom. So you can unmute, ma.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
You have seen it.
Good evening.
I'm not seeing anything.
Can you help?
Good evening. Good evening. Okay.
You can share your screen.
Yes, I'll share my slide now. Good evening once again. I'm Opeyemi Olajumoke Olofishawo from Moshi State University, and I'm presenting is a work in progress, so I apologize. I'm still on the field collecting my data, so it's a work in progress. So I'm presenting a topic titled Extant and Emergent Approaches in English as a Second Language Teaching, Translanguage Instruction in Secondary Schools, Teachers and Student Perceived Problems and Prospect. The English language in Nigeria is not only the medium of communication, or medium of instruction rather, from the upper primary to the tertiary institution level, but it is also, the English language is also offered as a subject, which is a basic requirement for those who are getting admission, who are seeking admission into the universities, and also for undergraduates or those in tertiary institutions that wants to graduate. They must actually pass the English language. And since the English language has been, yes. Hello?
We can hear you. You're fine.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. And there have been a lot of approaches that have underpinned the teaching of the English language as a second language in Nigeria. These approaches range from the classical approach to language teaching, to the structural approach to language teaching, the natural approach, the oral and situational approach to language teaching. And all these approaches have their strengths and their weakness. However, for example, I'm going to
She's moving far away from the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. YAM 2024. It argues that despite promoting methodologies like communicative language teaching and task-based language teaching, students are still limited in influencing, these approaches are limited in influencing students' communicative competence in the English language. That is, students are still found wanting in respect to listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And this is evident in their academic performance in both internal and external examinations. So there's a need to actually explore other approaches and other emergent approaches to language teaching. And one of them is translanguaging, which is a new approach, although this approach emerged in the 1980s. However, it's not until recently that a lot of researchers are trying to look at it as
And let's walk.
So while we wait, please, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So while we wait for our presenter, I think okay, she's back.
in teaching, maybe the English language or in our English lessons. And the stative effects of this approach has been felt in some other countries. For example, I'm going to start drafting.
No longer sharing your screen.
Sorry. For example, drafting 2021 is a language teaching. That is, it blurs the distinction between individual languages, maybe the mother tongue, and also the foreign language, which is English language. And to me, I always say there are two views to the languages of instruction. For example, some scholars believe that, for example, AK 2020 believe that you cannot teach the concept of the concept of one's culture in another man's language. While some believe that the English language should solely be used as a medium of instruction. So translanguages as an approach actually marry these two views together. That is, use of the native language in teaching, the foreign language, and also the English language in teaching, also using the native language and also the English language in our English lessons. So therefore, there's a need to actually explore or actually seek for teachers and students awareness of this particular approach to language teaching, and also to find out their prospects or what they believe to be the benefits of this approach, and also the challenges of this approach. And this, to answer these varied questions, four research questions were raised and will be answered in the study. And the study is hinged on the social constructivism theory by Vygotsky, 1968. Vygotsky submitted that language and culture are the major tools used in shaping human experience and reality. So the language in which we teach our children or teach them our culture and our reality is of utmost importance. So it emphasizes that we should use language. It emphasizes that language is used to construct experiences. And this study is going to adopt the mixed method research design of the sequential type, that is quantitative and both qualitative. And the study population comprises of all English language teachers in Ondo State, and also students, SS2 students in Ondo State. And purposive sampling technique will be employed, or it has already been employed, to select 20 teachers from 40 schools. There are 20 schools from 40 schools in Akure metropolis. And purposive sampling technique also will be used to select one intern class from SS2, from senior secondary school, from senior secondary school students, one inter-class. Then the research instruments that was used or that is still being used to collect data in this study is 3. We have 2 questionnaires and 1 structured interview. The questionnaire, teachers' questionnaire on teachers and student perceived awareness of translanguaging in English lessons. Then questionnaire on perceived problems, teachers and student perceived problems of translanguaging in English lessons. Likewise, teachers' perception on the prospect of translanguaging in English lessons. And also a structured interview was also used to elicit their views. Then this instrument was validated by language experts in Osun State University and University of Ibadan, and also the reliability coefficients were also determined. And the data that will still be collected will be analyzed using descriptive statistics of mean and standard deviation, and also the structured interview will be content analyzed. Then the results, I believe, we review teachers and students' awareness of translanguaging instructions, the challenges, the basic challenges that comes with it, and also the benefits and chances of the success of this particular approach in language teaching. Then after this, suggestions will be made. Although I've collected a few data, that is the structured interview, some of the teachers love the idea of translanguaging approach to language teaching, although some students believe it will affect their learning of the English language. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ms. Okweyemi. I just wanted to say I really, really appreciate your topic, especially for somebody whose work has to do with English language teaching, English as a second language, and hearing about translanguaging is really, really helpful. While there is scholarship on that, I'm thinking about Lee Wei and Ophelia Garcia, I don't know if you've checked, it is important to note that these are things that we already do implicitly in Nigeria already. But maybe again, when we get to question and answer session, I would like to really engage you more. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Amal, do you have any comment or any thoughts before we move to the 3rd presenter? Okay. Or are we doing question and answer at the end or at the end of everything? I need to.
I think we should do it at the end. So that
Okay. We keep the momentum going.
Your question down. This was for the
Okay.
This was for
Thank you.
Paper, and then they'll give another one for the next and the next. So you can collect your thoughts. So we do it at the end. So we can have all the time to ourselves, even if it's 9 p.m. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So now I would like to invite Dr. Ido Christiana Ononuga for our presentation. Thank you. And I assume she's in person, right?
Yeah, she's in house.
Thank you. Thank you, Ma.
Good evening, everyone. I want to appreciate the organizer for the privilege to debate in this year's conference.
It's a slide here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
This evening, I'm talking on
We can hear.
laboratory in the context of education. Availability, perception, and interest among service teachers in Southwestern Nigeria. Now, to start with, I want to play around the keywords. Multimedia. Looking at this our setting, this kind of multimedia class. Because we have our projector, we have our laptop, we have photography, we have the audio, we have the video, we have those gadgets. Now, micro-teaching. Micro-teaching is one of the core courses in every teacher's education program. And the importance is so evident that from year 2 you are going to have the theoretical aspect of teaching practice, teaching. The second semester, you do the part 4, and it's a prerequisite for you to go to the field to go for teaching practice, and this in first semester, year 3 in colleges of education. But now, what do we see? This study is trying to see how technology can be integrated into micro-teaching activities from the grassroots level, that is our colleges of education, where is the home of teachers. You know, the output between the teachers that went through NCE, they stand and distinguish themselves compared to those of us that are not privileged to go to NCE first. So we there, through teaching practice, if you hear this service teachers, that is D2P teacher, students in training, that's what we service. Students in training that are prepared to go into the teaching career proper. Now that's the service teacher, and the addition, the introduction of different technology tools into micro teaching is what I refer to as multimedia micro teaching laboratory. Thanks to Textbook, in year 2003 or thereabouts, it concept of the introduction of technology, which has come to stay in every area of life. Technology has been integrated into education, and so teaching practice is not left behind. Micro teaching is not left behind. So next fund constructed and set up micro teaching labs in different colleges of education, especially federal colleges of education in Southwest, in order to prepare the service teachers for the future. So multimedia micro teaching lab engage students more effectively, enhance comprehension, and provide a dynamic learning environment for students. However, as I've said, the country can work in isolation, and therefore, providing tools, more development tools in teaching and learning is what I refer to as multimedia micro teaching. The purpose of the study looked at availability of multimedia microteaching in our microteaching laboratory. What are the service teacher perceived usefulness, the perception or the usefulness of this multimedia microteaching lab? I also look at the perceived ease of use and the interest, the service teacher's interest in use of multimedia microteaching lab. Next slide. So this result answered the questions as been on the slide. There are theories that supported this. Next slide, please. There are theories that supported this study. The addition of innovation theory by Rogers 1995, major cognitive theory of multimedia learning. The addition theory of innovation talks about how innovations move from one end to the other. You know, the addition is the movements. So we have early adopters. Once there is new things involved, we have different things in this house. Some of us, we are social proactive. We want to know what's happening. We want to be on board. Some of us want to try it, looking at it. It says this is working. Another family. What's this? What's that? So we have late adopters, we have intermediate ones. That was the vision of innovation theory. That's the place in that multimedia micro-teaching, that when the technology is embedded into micro-teaching for easy transmission of knowledge and acquisition of skills. You know, micro-teaching is empowered in some teachers to have teaching skills like self-induction, that is, when you introduce your lesson, how have the effective to call the attention of your students to keep them focused. the skills of questioning, we learn it in mentor teaching. The closure, how do you learn your lesson in order to give your student ability to recall what have you done? Some of these skills have been learned during my teaching experience. So this study adapted the learning acceptance model to look at the perception and acceptability of this multimedia repetition, laboratories cannot be service teaching. Next slide, please. The methodological approach is distinctive survey design, and it is distinctive in order to have good answer, good volume of information, so that I can sample students' opinion, sample opinions about this multimedia micro teaching lab. And it's of constitutional because I do not allow any external interview. I was on the field. I applied I used my instruments with the help of research assistant. These are one of those students on the field. Before going to the field and the rest, to me, I would have related that's implementation. Another field, I contacted some of the lecturers who get me some students who work around with the instrument. So there was no intervention, there was not any manipulation about the data. But what do we see? Next slide. After concluding the investigation, we noticed that multimedia micro-teaching lab are very resourceful. But what do we see? That the lab has turned to more or less a library because these facilities are not maintained. So I encourage them, whenever we have micro-teaching, they will say, pair yourself with your friend, stay in your class, teach, this is your friend, take your friend, teach back, and evaluate yourself. And that's what we are having challenges with in education. You notice that compare our teachers that took in any of us that are above 50, 40, compare your primary system teachers in those days. How sound they are, how passionate they are in teaching. You understand? Compared to what we are having now, because they are not being exposed to multimedia method teaching laboratories where they react and get feedback. Multimedia method teaching laboratories make students to react by itself and to record and give you a feedback. You can watch your video to know what you are doing and correct any areas where you have challenges. So this study concluded that multimedia micro teaching laboratories are valuable resources in college communication. They contribute to the development of pedagogical skills, boost the confidence of researchers, foster active practice, involve diverse learning needs, and prepare researchers to integrate technology into teaching. And on this note, there are some things recommended. They are advocating that government should increase institutional investment in multimedia laboratory, develop comprehensive and quality training programs for both lecturers and technology support, and also establish standardized technology integrations guidelines, create public and private partnership for technology through resource acquisition. And on this note, I want to appreciate everyone for listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, can you hear me? I think I would use Dr. Ononuga's way as well. On this note, I would like to use Mrs. Layo Obidike's comment in our group that technology has come to stay in every aspect of life. And I want to say thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Dr. Ononuga. And also to emphasize the importance of what we are doing is how we even have one of the facilitators of the critical AI literacy in our midst today. So Eric, thank you so much for joining. And hopefully when we're having the question and answer session, you would also have some thoughts to add to our presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And can we move to the fourth presenter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
She sent us like,
Let me check.
don't think.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to invite Dr. Ihuoma Okorie for our presentation. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you so much. Good evening, everybody here present. Like I said, my name is Ihuoma Okorie, and I'm lecturer in the Department of Theatre and Performing Arts by Yale University. I'll be speaking on theatre rehearsals, morality, and academic development of students, and experimental study. Now, there's this belief that in theater, oftentimes you go there to play. That's the general belief that people have about theater. When they don't say, hey, she's studying theater, they believe that there's actually nothing good about that course. They just go there to dance and play, and they come out with good grades. And at the end of the day, that's it. But that's actually not it. I'll be speaking on theater rehearsals and how theater rehearsals can help students in their moral and academic development. So theater in Africa education has historically been a tool for learning. It's not just, before we perform any production, before we perform any play, there's usually a rehearsal process. And that rehearsal process goes on for, let's say, 8 to 10 weeks. Before any rehearsal, okay, there's always exercises that we engage in. So we call them theater exercises. So theater exercises not only try to build the students in terms of trying to exemplify their roles on stage, it also helps in the moral instruction and academic development of students. And we have that they call creative phase. Must be one creative. It's not just a phase, it's a creative phase. Why? Because so many things go in during the rehearsal phase. It can be used for moral development, moral and academic development. It's not very artistic, it's a pedagogical and social cultural tool. So what are the objectives of this study? Number one objective is to examine the impact of participatory theater rehearsals of students' moral reasoning. Secondly, to evaluate the changes in academic development of theater participation, and thirdly, to explore how educators transmitting learning to theater. Now, as a lecturer who takes the course, at that point in time, you are no longer called the lecturer, you are called the facilitator at that point in time. So it feels towards this idea of focusing on the student-centered learning. So theater rehearsal is a product of the student-centered type of learning. Why? Because it's the students that mostly, one lecturer just facilitate the rehearsal process, while the students carry out the process. So theater background. I'm using the Constructivities learning theory by Piaget and Vygotsky, which says that knowledge is actively constructed. It is active and not what? Passive. So here, students embody roles. They engage with conflict and they reflect on the outcomes by interpreting scripts, improvising scenes, and what? Co-creating meaning. Students construct knowledge through experience, through reflection, and also through interaction. So like I said, what is the goal of the educator at that point in time? He or she serves as the guide who prompts, cues the characters, or should I say the students at that point in time. So why did I design this theory? Because it helps students to learn on their own. They do not just memorize lines, they internalize values and concepts. This engagement because theater rehearsals, it provides emotionally and completely rich environment. It provides space for exploration, discussion, and experimentation. And lastly, I got particular theory because it helps students, or it helps students make meaningful connections between rehearsals, real life, and academic goals. Now, what methodology did I deploy? Experimental. So a structured method used in research
to test a hypothesis and determine whether one variable causes change in another. But how many students did I carry out this experiment? The students were 15. Intervention, 8 weeks of guided theater rehearsals. And how did I collect my data after that? Pre and post test on academic performance and moral reasoning, and also I used focus group discussion. Now, what is the process? Now I can just come into the theater, to the theater, and everybody on stage. They are all on stage. I'll just call one person. Okay? You know the story of how the tortoise had the broken shell. Got the broken shell. Traumatizing for us. Everybody's acting. Because I can call on anybody at any point in time. So why did I use the story of why the tortoise had the broken shell? Because it's the story that has the moral value in it. So at the end of the day, when a student dramatizes that particular character, at the end, I will also ask, so what did you learn from this? Okay. So you make them active. So here is why the story of why the tortoise has a broken shell and how to preserve traditional stories that these values like wisdom, patience, and what humility and what is the educational benefit. He promotes language development, oral narration skills, and what communal ethics. Story circle technique. Everyone's going to circle. I'll tell a story, and I'll ask everybody to contribute to that particular story with just one word. One word. I was going home today. Today, I was going home. I met George. She said, so everybody is active. You must say something, because if you don't say something, I have my own way of punishing. So you teach everybody at that. That's a way of promoting academic development of work or students. And also, if you want to promote morality, I can tell them to share a story of something that has a moral lesson at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, they will go home, not just preparing them for the stage, but also helping their academic reasoning and as well as what academic development. And this type of it promotes respect and inclusion. This program ensures everyone participates equally. Nobody is exempted. Everyone participates equally because they are the co-creators, like I said in the first shape. It promotes fairness and respect for each other's contribution. They were very good to the class, and I had to form a queue. They formed a queue, and I said, I will say something. When I say that particular thing, if you think it's right, you jump left. If you think it's wrong, right. And I said, every time steps, before you even process steps, so half of the class failed it. So it helps them to be alert. So we are not just doing these things because we want students to go on stage and perform well. We are also helping their morality. We're also helping their academic work development. Also, it helps critical and creative thinking. Like I said, you must be at alert and you must say something that is reasonable. You are not permitted to say anything. I warn them. Ensure that whatever you are coming up with in this thing we are doing makes sense. If not, you know, children or let's say students, we have a way of trying to play some things that, sometimes, okay, when they realize that you're serious, they try to make a joke out of it and all that. But I do not tolerate that. I tell them that if you do not make a meaningful contribution, you are in trouble. So they are all as an active, promote critical and creative thinking. So students here, they learn, listen actively. Because when you tell the story, you must listen actively to what the person before you is about to say, so that you can say something that connects with whatever he or she has said. And it helps them retain information through active participation. It develops listening, turn-taking, and team skills crucial for group work and classroom dynamics. Also, we did a lot of improvisation rehearsals, something we call street games. So when we want to perform a game, what we do is to create or try to help with task lists. So each student knows the role that he or she is playing in that particular game. So I can just call you, okay? We have told you to read this play or we have read this play together in class. Come out. Dramatize one moral lesson you want the other students to learn from your role or from your character. So they are always at alert. Okay, so we have 3 states. And what is the impact of these 3 states? Students are alert and they are energized. It encourages spontaneity, teamwork, and communication. You can't be in theater and you are not on phone. It's not possible. Why? Because this rehearsal process helps to shape you from the 100 level down to your 400 level. So like I said earlier, about the role of the education and all this, the educator guides the students to reflect after each rehearsal process. And the educator tries as much as possible to connect the moral and academic goals of those rehearsals or of those rehearsals that have been done. It encourages students to use theater to ask questions. You can use theater to ask questions. There are rehearsals called open-ended. Okay? I can just tell you to dramatize and leave it open-ended. For the students to do what, try as much as possible to give answer to whatever you have said or performed. And what are the results that I got? What I did is a green examination. I asked them the impact. One of the examinations, let's the major question I asked them, which was the compulsory. What is the impact of the rehearsals we did on the moral and academic development? So that was what I used to measure the impact of what I carried out for 8 weeks. And part of the results is that built classroom confidence. They were more confident than they were once there in their 100 level. Sharper attention, listening skills. So let me conclude by saying that as an educator, as the role of an educator, he or she serves as a guardian for moral and academic development, digital continuity, and a catalyst for critical change in this student discontinuity. So theater rehearsal as a tool for moral and academic development of students in this research was used to both preserve, reflect, as well as change and confront general issues confronting the moral and educational goals. So this research argues that theater rehearsals is not just an artistic exercise. You don't go there to sleep. Not just an artistic exercise, but it's a social practice that plays a crucial role in the holistic development of theater.
Thank you so much. I think hearing Doctor's presentation, can you hear me?
Yes,
I started remembering the second domains of learning, which is the psychomotor domain. But after the thinking about, how students need to be engaged, the critical thinking and everything, then I'm like, okay, we have the cognitive, the affective, and even the psychomotor, which is really important. Thank you so much for that. On this note, I think I would have to defer back to Dr. Amautaiwo in terms of moderating the session on what stood out to us, then also question and answer session in this panel. Am I on the right track, Dr. Amautaiwo?
Yes, thank you so very much, That was quite impressive, and I am happy for the flow. And because we are very, very like-minded and united in this class, the internet also cooperated with us. So I'm grateful for that. Interesting insight so far. I can't deny the fact that I have learned from the 4 presenters. I mean, the fact that this is transdisciplinary. I mean, and it's bringing in lessons from every aspect into teaching, which is the ideal thing. There is almost no discipline that does not have something to support education. And that's why in most universities you find the Faculty of Education as the largest. I see that as a resource. And when I see students they post Faculty of Education doing like this, I'm like, well, if you don't know what you have, nobody's going to tell you about what you have. So it's time for question and answer. Questions. So you tell us the question and tell us or feedback and tell us the presenter your question is meant for. Then you can introduce yourself and your university too. Thank you. Okay, number one, number two, number three. Oh, geez. So Dr. Ismail, we have like 8 questions in the room. It means we will take it at the same time. We take all at once and then the answer.
Okay. I also want to say that the people that are joining on Zoom, please, if you have questions, feel free to put it on the question and answer session chat box, and we will read it out.
Thank you for that. So number one, this is number one, number two, number three, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 questions. I have a strong feeling that the questions will overlap. Yeah, so we're going to have. Are there any questions on the anybody? So that's 9 questions. Please ensure you know your number, and then you address the person you want to be. It's time for you to be your coach right now, because your questions are complete. All right, number one. Okay.
I just want to make
Please.
some observations.
Okay.
And the first observation is that within the frame of the presentation, the dependent measure of the study did not feature very well. The dependent measure of that study is usage of internet resources as well as the perception of the same. That is actually the narrative that should be given so much of time. What is the gap in knowledge concerning those 2 variables? What is the research gap? I know LSA always wants us not to make comments that would pull down the work, but in the true sense of the word, if the write-up represents this presentation, it can make it beyond desk of a very top quality journal because the dependent measure was muted all through the narrative. And it is of essence to know the state of knowledge concerning a dependent measure, as well as the reason why the influence of school type is the variable that is now being investigated. Without those 2 rationality, we would not have a very, very good a good study to consider. The last question I have is for the theater rehearsal, morality, and academic development of students. I want to say that there are billions of experimental study, and the type you have adopted is always referred to as one-shot post-test, pre-test, post-test. That means you don't have a separate group for your control. So without that control, there are very few assertions you could make concerning your findings. And the procedure for the implementation of the study, to me, seems to violate some principle of pedagogy. It's a bit draconian. You are not permitted to do this. You are not, no. The point is that whenever you are dealing with pedagogy, the point is that you must be liberal. Because even the one that you're saying is not making sense, it's an outcome of a cognitive process. Every response ought to be dignified because you are shutting down the cognitive path from which it emerged. And you will be cutting off those people, that the effort the person has actually put in place. And finally, if you are writing in any serious place, your method of data collection is unacceptable. The final exam cannot suffice. You need a text that is properly designed which will be validated as your pre-test, and which you will also administer an alternative form of it as a post-test. These are very essential whenever you're doing an experimental study. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charlotte Gadama from University of Jos. My concern, interesting conversation, but I'm a realist, probably because I'm always on the field. I deal with facts and figures. So I'm a very realistic person. And we know that one of the challenges we have in Africa, on this continent, is we don't make realistic suggestions. Most times when our suggestions is not realistic, you just suggest there and it ends there. So I like us as scholars to always make realistic suggestions. For instance, I looked at the work of Bill Gates. For me, it took me some, it made sense. But your suggestion, you were like, universities should pair with other universities to get a code. It doesn't happen, because if Unilag is giving out codes, making internet everywhere, because I was once an acolyte. So I know some things that I enjoy. Learning was very easy for me because of the provision of internet was everywhere, literally everywhere. Zenith Bank, you could connect, you go everywhere, you could connect. So that was a leverage. And it takes a smart student to utilize such opportunity. But it is because Unilag is prioritizing the students for better productivity. So you can't tell me that last week we sit and be chilling, then our Unilag will give them code. No, it's unrealistic. If you take it anywhere, it's not realistic. I rather you suggest other universities should look at what Unilag is doing. They must be forfeiting something that they think is not essential to make internet available. So there must be something. It's a sacrifice you make, because you look around, you look at what will aid teaching, what will attract people. That is why acolytes are quite loud. They make you feel they are in another world. So, but these people make sacrifice. Now that's I've dealt with them. Your own case too. I think all of you, my challenge is realistic suggestions. You make a suggestion about government, you're just listing what is impossible in Nigeria. Realistic suggestions, like, okay, now if we want to enjoy, we can say what is quite educated, and it's bringing us home to our realities for education to thrive in Nigeria, in Africa. One of the challenges of human capital development is education and health. When education is not properly provided for the people of that society and health, they can't do anything. They are not productive. And that is where we are lacking. If you go to the HCM and human capital development, I presented on it this morning. I didn't want to give analysis. So you look at what makes the individual happy so that he can be productive. Somebody must be happy. His needs must be met for him to produce. So you look at realistic suggestions. You look at what can we do that is realistic, so that this solutions, viable solutions you're preferring, can actually fly. Because like, if you go to offices now, if you bring a suggestion, oh, this is simple, someone will just sign. But if you're bringing what is not possible, you're saying government should bring this in Nigeria, not possible. I'm almost thinking, I was almost saying, oh, but it's not possible. Then I'm looking at your work from BUK Okori. Okori, your work, for me, I think, from what he said, is there a place for inclusion in your learning process? Because the way you've been communicating is like everybody must be active. What is the place for someone living with disability? Because it's a critical issue on the table. You go to National Assembly, everywhere you go, they are talking about people with disability. If I am using crutches, you can't come and say everybody on the stage, everybody from the queue, no? Do you understand where I'm coming from? So what is the place for people living with disability? Thank you very much.
Number 3.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Rahman Abdullahi from the Department of Arts and Science Education, Kwara State University, in Nigeria. On the first presentation, I think what I have is a mere comment. Yes, love your vigor and the action you put into it while you are presenting. But when you were talking about availability of empirical studies in that area of your research, you said there were not so many of them in Southwestern. I mean, there were not so many of them. I would have preferred that you suggest relatively in the Southwestern part of Nigeria, because personally I have seen more than two that are across my table. So basically, I think that was over generalization, and that would not be too fine. For the second presenter, I would like to find out whether teachers are trained to blend the two languages for us to achieve translanguaging in the classroom. Because if you are asking teachers to use, in this sense, mother tongue combined with English to teach in the classroom, was that teacher trained to actually use the mother tongue beyond the oracy level? But the fact that I'm a Yoruba person does not necessarily mean I can read and write in Yoruba. I may be able to speak it, I may be able to listen to it, but that does not necessarily mean I will be able to read and write. And if I cannot read and write, how can I actually use that approach you have talked about? And how do you capture all the students in a multilingual classroom? That is the typical classroom in Nigeria, a class where you have a student that is Yoruba, a student that is this, a student that is that. And for all these different indigenous languages present in the classroom, and you want to teach English language, how do you use translanguaging, featuring the different indigenous languages within that classroom? And the last but not the least is, do we really have textbooks of English written in other languages to further enhance what you're talking about after the classroom activities? At least the students will have to engage with reading materials after the class, but do we have such? So I want to learn. Perhaps if there are things I am not aware of that you could shed light on regarding that. And for the last presenter, I agree with some of the things she said. However, the strategy she talked about and how she linked it with morality doesn't seem well defined to me. I wouldn't know if she could expatiate a bit on that. Thank you very much.
Can you repeat that from that question?
My name is Linda from Department of Languages, Criminal Polytechnic. I want to observe that her presentation is more or less like a comparative study, because all the times she compared one university with the other. So I want to know whether it's a comparative study. Then we have the second presenter. I think when it relates to teaching and testing, I think preferably she should have conducted tests to find out better than interviewing or using questionnaire. That's just my contribution. Then the third presenter, how does a micro-teaching laboratory works? I need more elaboration. And is the technological way of micro-teaching better than the traditional one? How? Then the last presenter, you mentioned 50 students selected in as part of your methodology or whatever. How did you come up with the number? Thank you.
Thank you. Number 5.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mama Kopala from English Department, University of Lagos. I must commend all the presenters because it's been an interesting evening for me. My sister here has actually spoken on what I wanted to talk about, because I heard the first presenter talk so much about just like she said, comparison. But then let me go straight and ask the question, because I hear you call for collaborations between University of Lagos and other institutions. And you made specific reference to internet. Now, my question is the internet in University of Lagos funded by the government? Because what I hear is because it is a government institution, I mean, it has a whole lot, and so others should collaborate. That's my question. Then my second question goes to the last presenter, Dr. Iloma. Wonderful what I hear you say, and a lot of people have actually touched on the aspect of humanity in your employed techniques. I had wanted to ask, although I wrote this before you eventually got to the end, when you said you measured with the final examination, I had wanted to ask if there was a more objective measure that was employed, because using the examinations, it's being subjective as far as I'm concerned. I would expect that a more objective measure, like looking at what was achieved in 100 level, is there anything that you could do to look at what was done in 100 level and what was done in the final year that is outside the students that you are speaking to? Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Number 6.
Yeah, number 6. One of my questions has been taken care of. So the one question I have is on the person, I think the third person, about teaching practice. Well, the topic, I know that because I wanted to ask you a question about the outcome, your result. How can you relate it to the federal university? But I found out that you focus on colleges of education. But I will advise you if you can elaborate that research, because we all know that colleges of education has a micro-teaching lab. You cannot conduct a comparative studies between the colleges of education and the federal universities, so that the findings will be elaborate and you can generalize it, because the universities will have faculty of education and the colleges of education based on NET. And some of the universities we know, they don't have this micro teaching lab. So if we can do a comparative study to compare the two, I think your outcome will be better than the one you have here.
Thank you very much.
Yes, he has addressed the same question. I was going to ask her about the mode of carrying out that experiment for the doctor in theater arts, telling the students you are in trouble, I'll deal with you and things like that, and how that has implication on the outcome of the experiment. So,
Thank you. Number 8.
Okay. So thank you very much, our presenters. I really enjoyed this session. But my concern is to Dr. Uhoma Okore, and many people had mentioned what I wanted to say. That was the evaluation method you now used at the end of your study, which was mentioned you used examination. So people have told you what to do, and that is what I wanted to say. So I don't want to belabor it. So just look at your evaluation criteria very well, so that if you want to publish this paper, they will not bring it down because of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Actually, number 8. Did we get to 9? Yes. I think we go to 9. Try, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the presenters. My first question, we go to my sister there. I want to ask quickly that is it possible to teach English language with indigenous language? Because you find that yeah. Okay, it's online. Okay, so sorry. So I just have to ask that question. It's possible to have that. Then for the last presenter, Dr. Right. Okay, a lot of people have come for you, but I just want to, but I just want to, okay. My name is Abdul Kavi Adeyemi. I didn't do that from the very beginning, and I teach film studies at Kwara State University. So I read theater arts at the University of Ibadan, majoring in media studies, and I know what the department is like. So people in that department know that we lost touch with humanity, but of course, that is the nature of that department. There is hierarchy in the theater. We respect ourselves, and during our training, especially initiation, that other universities they call it induction. That is introduction of a new student to the arts of theater. We say theater is next to military. Theater is next to military. That is what they will tell you. And I could remember during my acting classes in those days, we'll be taken down to UI pool as early as 6:30 a.m. So we put our head inside the water, spend some minutes there, the answers will come out. Why? They want to train us how to hold our breath during modulation while speaking, for public speaking, as at the same time for acting. So she used John Piaget theory to analyze her topic. That's very lovely. It's helped the cognitive aspect of human to grow and to give us the student uh, more comfort while facing the crowd. Okay, I had a personal experience when a young student just came into the department and we're going to present their first year. Immediately, the young guy came on stage and saw mammoths of crowd at the auditorium, then he ran back. Yeah, he was afraid, stage fright. So all this kind of exercise will help such person to bond out of. And I can tell you, back in those days, there's no, I can't take a crowd that cannot face. So then I just want to buttress your point. Probably you should try to look at Brian Waite's book. It's titled Development Through Drama. You're developing through drama, so you get a lot of information to back up your work. I really love it, and I love the energy there. Then and I also want to say that other people from other disciplines can also see drama as teaching method, because I use that in my various courses. Yes, in my various courses. Anytime I want to explain something to my student, I make my student characters in the class. I just name them. I say, you are this, you are this, you are this. Then we begin to explain. And I can tell you, by adopting that method, majority of my students, they make A's in my courses. And I tell them that I am not a charity giver. I'm not a dollar to mark, but I just need you to listen to me attentively, and you get what we want. And that's what I've been doing with my students at Kwara State University, Malete. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we should jump our hands together for ourselves.
Doctor, I think we have a comment in the chat, and also we have a raised hand.
Can you give her the mic so that she can speak? Then we can read the comment.
So we have a comment.
I got the mic.
Oh yeah, she can talk.
I got the mic, yeah. You already invited me to unmute. Great job. I just want to thank everyone here and the organizers, Dr. Mao and Dr. Alabede, who always corrects me not to call her a doctor yet. I feel like this is huge. When we started to listen, because I'm a bit kinesthetic, and the presenter, the first doctor that presented, forgive me for not catching the name, ma. What stood with me was that she stood up and to give a presentation. Because I'm kinesthetic, when things are jumbled, I'm lost. And so I was looking at, can they just give the slide? But because she stood up, it was a posture that made me pay attention. So that's some feedback that I want to thank you for standing up like the old teachers would and actually presenting for us. I love the character and the posture that the first doctor gave us. And the other two, what stood by me, I think there were three others, but I'll speak on Dr. Kore and I believe Dr. Onanuga. I also like the presentation that was collaborated with the professor. Overall, what I want to say is I was at a convocation for a doctor just last week, a friend of ours that graduated here in Canada. And, it was a party. The professors were there. It was casual. We were having this conversation. I'm talking about the people that actually certified it. So I feel like opportunity like this for our researchers, because I usually use this quote from my brother that there are lots of respected ignoramuses, people that are actually foolish, but they are in our research field and they're the one we have to listen to. And that's why I feel like this is an opportunity that LSC has put together where I don't think it's all about effort for our researchers. I think it's also about the opportunities that they have. And so I feel like this is really a great feedback. And if I were to summarize all the feedback that I got and some of the things that I noticed as well, I think it will be about methodology and communication. For instance, when Dr. Okori said learning should be active, I listened to it as educators should be active in delivering their, in the process of pedagogy. I wasn't listening to learning should be active. So that accounted for disability and all of that. So I feel like there are lingo in your field, which I am an independent researcher here. So I feel like if we go back to check the methodology a little bit more and check the communication, the world will stand up to listen to the presenters that we had today. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Dr. Lyle. So that if you, like as educators, there's a lot we have to learn from each other, and we should not take our eyes away from that. Thank you so much for that prompt. So we have 9 minutes to go, and this is how we're going to close. How many people have feedback in their sticky notes? Everybody has. So whether you be playing person, so can you talk with this question or the other way around? As you're going now, don't give it to them as a gift. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. Okay. So that they're going to give some feedback, because feedback is. So give them how many minutes each? We have only 9 minutes, and there are 4. So we give each of them 2 minutes close out. Please, do we agree? We have 7 minutes. So let's just finish. Can you start? Give me 1 minute of the time. So let's do 2 minutes each, and then we just. Thank you. Let's start from Dr.
Thank you so much. Dr. Alex standing, not in this place.
And that's
so anytime we want to recite our prayer, we stand, we don't sit. That was presence of our attendance. Thank you for the criticism. You all made a lovely constructive point. Thank you very much. Firstly, let me start with my God. He said empirical studies should not be generalized. I'm supposed to tell you that it's not outwards. It's not as if they've not studied, they've not researched on this in other regions. But in Southwest, it's somehow then. I just said, is it more a comparative? Yes, I would say it's more comparative because I'm comparing the federal university and the state university. I'm looking at their perception and the result. In terms of the perception, I'm asking you now also, is there to compare to? That's why we are here. We are here today. If we know it all, we can't come in. Yes. So anytime we can have it like this. Keep going to criticize somebody. Criticize love.
Doctor about this. You know, I can put Dr. Bad. I'm not being that. Doctor, you are here today. We know it all. Say, you are 2 minutes.
So as we are there, as we are teaching, we also there. Thank you very much. So thank you very much.
Learning is the academia is one space where learning is continuous.
Yes.
Lifelong. Yeah. I'm happy that she has met us as a middle. We're not criticizing your work. We are enriching. Yes. And celebrating the good thing you have. I was looking at how somebody technical can really tell us how these resources can be shared. I'm interested, but it's going to take cost. But then I don't have the beliefs and outright say this is how it will happen. And that's what Doctor was trying to do. That who will do what? We said that at the beginning. Who will do what? How would they do it? How would they achieve it? Thank you very much. Thank you. So I don't everybody.
So, yes, I received few questions. He asked me a lot of questions. Oh, she said I should look into university, and that will be another story because I thought of college education. So we'll do that to expound on that one, extending to university. You are asking me that how does multi media methodology work? It's just like a simulation. Let us think like that. A simulation. It is set up. You don't need to and then we get that I appreciate your comment that you have right now. I appreciate your comment and giving back to more kids. Thank you. And it's on your contribution. That's good. Yeah. Tomorrow, and the time is the same. And it's going to be in room. Thank you, madam.
Dr. Mao, are we done?
Dr. Yetunde, Dr. Layo. Let the camera, please. Dr. Layo.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Mama Ifunabu. You need to incorporate critical AI literacy into all this.
Yeah,
I see you.
Really? That's good.
Thank you. I had a great time. I am not a doctor. I don't think I want to be one, but I really had a great time. Really had a great time.
We want you
Thank you
in.
so
We
much,
want you
Ma.
in,
Thank you for
please.
having me.
Thank you so much. Dr. Today,
Really
we'll
brilliant
continue
mind.
with our chit chat on WhatsApp. You know what happens
Yes.
right now in this room?
Okay, I think we have another session. Thank you.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.
Eric, look at Eric.
I'm sorry for shouting. Thank you so much, Eric. I like that.
Thank you.
It's good to see everybody.
Good to see you again. We'll see you tomorrow.
By God's grace. Bye.
You got 5.
I'm gonna leave now. Thank you so much to the technology person too. We appreciate you. Yes, sir. Bye, sir. Yes, sir. That was sir.
Let's end this.